You either use the internet for fun or you use the internet to grow. You're here to grow. Welcome to TRS Clips.
There was this case, I think it's recently talked in our podcast. In 1974, there's this guy called Michael Taylor. So Michael Taylor was a very nice man and everything with his family. There was a dog, there were 2 kids. But he never went to a church as such. They were not devout. So they were living in central England, I think, Osset. And they were told by their neighbors that you should go to church and all. And your husband, Michael's wife was Christian Taylor. And Christian was told that, maybe you should take your husband to the church because he's not going through some bad phases, because he's not getting any job. He has some body issues and everything. Maybe you should go to the church. In the church, he finds a girl who is preaching very beautifully and all. And Michael starts feeling some attraction. And at one point, what happened was during one of the prayers or something like that, Michael reacts very aggressively with the girl whose name is Sophie. I think her name was Sophie or something like that. Let's say it's called Sophie. And he charges towards Sophie and he's trying to attack her, be aggressive. The people in the congregation, they thought that Michael is possessed. And within a night, they declared that an exorcism has to happen. You know what happened to the exorcism? They put crosses and crucifixes in his mouth. He was tied to beds and everything, and he was, holy water and everything. Exorcism is happening. So much so that the 3 priests who were performing the exorcism, they got tired. They were like, you go back home. First red flag, actually. You never leave a person who's said to be possessed to home, with his family. They were like, you go back home, come back next day because we are very tired. He goes back home. The next day, he is found on the street covered in blood and everything, acting like a baby in a fetal position. And the police guy comes in and he asks what happened. And he just says, blood of Satan. That's what he's shouting and screaming. And he's like, what happened? Now the passerby, they know this is Michael Taylor and they say that this is the house he lives in. When the police guy goes there, he already sees there's a group of police who are already in there. And something is not right. They go on to see that Michael has ripped apart Christian's face with his bare hands. He has removed his eyes, her eyes, her tongue, ripped apart. As in she died of her own blood. She drowned in her own blood. Who was this? Michael Taylor.
Who was the family member?
Who?
You said Christian.
Christian is the wife.
His wife.
His own wife.
Okay.
The children were not there. With his bare hand, he had ripped apart. She is unrecognizable. Then he turns his motive towards the dog. Limb by limb, he tears apart every part of his body. And he comes out and, he is caught by this police guy later. And he's then put into custody. Then he goes to a prison. Now imagine what he would went through in the prison, considering what he has done, possessed or not. It's a whole different case. If he's possessed, he's going to affect every other cellmate out there. Because of course he's going to be that aggressive guy and everything. But who is going to notice that thing? That is the important point. The police, they do not give a shit because he's a criminal at the end of the day. So as of now too, there could be a lot of prisons in the world. There are many famous ones in Australia where prisons are very, very haunted. But there's nothing to report. Who will report?
Someone I dated had once told me that many serial killers and serial killings are actually linked to demonology.
Yes, one of them is Son of Sam.
Burari case also?
Burari case, okay.
So the reason I brought up Burari case is actually I wanted to bring up that Dahmer.
Yeah.
I think even his name was linked to some sort of demonology.
Yes. A lot of those actually.
I don't watch all these serial killer documentaries. I don't know, I just don't vibe with crime as a genre.
Yeah.
I vibe with horror as a genre. But what do you have to say about that? Serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer? Maybe give some context also to the listeners because not everyone watches Netflix.
So Jeffrey Dahmer was one of the serial killers who mainly targeted the, the LGBT society mainly. He tried. Now the reason, while I'm talking about these things, you'll constantly hear that I'm referring to them as it, then he or she. Because I believe, Ranveer, anyone who does something like that, no matter if it is Jeffrey, or for that matter, Son of Sam and the serial killer Sam, or Ted Bundy, basically, all of them cannot be human being to do something like that. first of all.
Or cannot be a human being anymore.
Anymore. Exactly. They have lost that aspect of soul to have humanity or have emotions to understand what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
That's my personal belief. If we go dive, if we dive more into it, there could be some connection. Some serial killers have been very open about their connection to human sacrifices and occult and doing all kind of
Satanism.
satanism and satanic rituals to carry out their work, while some others who are very popular like Jeffrey, there have been some sayings about Jeffrey, but nothing more, as in not very popular sayings about him. But like said, Son of Sam, you know Son of Sam?
No, it's
Oh,
first
okay.
time hearing this.
Am I forgetting his full name? His name is Sam, something like that. And he was a guy who targeted mainly females, prostitutes mainly, and he killed them brutally, And he said that he was asked to do that by the pet dog of his neighbor, who he considered to be Lucifer.
He thought the neighbor was Lucifer.
No, the pet dog of the neighbor. The dog asked him to do those killings. Now, for me as a paranormal investigator, hell with the dog, hell with the neighbor. How can you kill a human being irrespective of their job profile, irrespective of what they do, irrespective of their gender, to do something like that? And not just one, not just two, to kill them, to rape them even after dying. And you have to be some kind of demon to do something like that. No sane human being will do that. So my concept of these human beings is that they were possessed by some kind of demon. I'm not justifying that they were possessed, hence they did that. It's because they have become demons by conducting something like that. As in, those are the modern world demons we should be talking about.
Yeah. I sincerely hope the audience gets the perspective that we're coming from. This whole podcast is about the occult and demonology. Yes. We're just trying to explore this topic more. It's kind of a what if conversation based on a lot of experience that Sarbabhai has.
Yeah.
Okay, now coming to demonology, what is this linkage? Honestly, my ex-girlfriend, she knew a lot about this stuff just again out of interest, about serial killers, about demonology. And she used to keep bringing up that link. Otherwise, I didn't even know about it.
Correct.
Is demonology practiced in India?
So for
and what is demonology?
So I'm a demonologist. So I've been certified by the church to be a demonologist.
What does that mean, bro?
So demonology is the study of demons. Very simple thing. But what makes it more complicated is we are talking about entities which are said to have never walked the earth. To explain, for example, we are here. Someday we will die. Our soul will be out here, or it will go to somewhere else. So we know what we call as, in our term, as human spirits. But demons are said to be entities which are called inhuman spirits. They have never walked the earth. They have never taken a physical birth from a normal human being.
I just want to also mention that based on the conversation with Rajarshi Nandi, he was a tantric on the show. He spoke about Pishach, Asura, Rakshasa, which are different forms of Indian demons, but it's probably the same thing, just different words for the same.
Yes. Okay. So Pisacho was, was once a man who had the inclination to eat raw flesh and all. So he became a Pisacho. Same goes for Asuras. Asuras, they were like, demigods and all who went on to choose the wrong path and did something wrong. But, majorly, as of now, the demonology we know is the Christian demonology, all thanks to the movies and all that we have been watching. And what the demonology I did also was from a Christianism point of view, because I did from a church. Now, the reason why I did is because I wanted to know how true it is. Is because, this could be a spoil game for a lot of people. For you too, we have received a lot of cases where people say that they have been possessed by some demonic entities, or that the house is infested with demonic entities. And when we go, we investigate. At the end of the day, we figure out and we get to know that it is not any demon, but a spirit who is portraying itself to be a demon.
You mean a spirit of someone who had passed away?
Yeah, a normal human spirit.
And demons are much more powerful.
Demons are very powerful.
Okay.
So they do things which are very powerful. According to what the research shows, study shows, they can do more damage to human beings emotionally and physically. They can cause more havoc in the place as compared to normal spirits and everything, which is fine. But I wanted to really learn that what is the reality behind it, because a lot of the concept of demon actually origins from religious books, from religions. That's where it comes from. And not just from Hinduism, even Buddhism has its own demons. Jainism also has its own demons. Christianism has its own demons. Even a couple of days before, I'm sorry, I may not be able to pronounce that religion that starts from Z,
Zoroastrianism.
yeah, that's the one. Even they have their own demons. They all have their own demons. Why? Because to support light, you need to have those bad figures out there.
To support light.
Support light as in to pray God. So God is light, right? Like it's good, everything pure, everything divine. So we have this tattoo here. You know, it's half yahan tak hai. It says that we work in the dark to serve the light. So basically that means that to believe in the light, you need to see the darkness here.
Mm.
So all kind of religions, they created these demons. This is my personal study, of course, that they created all these demons so that our faith in that one God or number of gods, whatever it is, becomes very strong, because we will fear that if we do not get inclined to that God, something much darker is waiting for us. So
But
yeah.
is that true? Something much darker is waiting for people?
Like I said, Ranveer, if I don't know if Jeffrey Dahmer is still alive or not, but if he's dead, he should be one of the most feared demons right now in the spiritual world. Because if he did so much being alive, imagine what he would be doing with those number of powers he would be getting in the spiritual world. So yes, it's very much possible.
Let's break this down a little more. Especially about that case you spoke about from 1974, where that guy ripped apart
Michael Taylor.
Yeah. Does that have signs of an out and out actual demonic possession?
So if you ask me, I have a lot of angles to it. And that's my job as a paranormal investigator. First, Michael could be all schizophrenic. Christian never knew about it, because of course in schizophrenia patients, if you're playing along with the schizophrenia or the hallucinations they have, it will only make them more aggressive and more triggered by it. So if a schizophrenia patient is saying, oh, I can hear noises, and if you say, oh, even I can hear noises, then he'll start believing in it more, and the symptoms and the signs will be getting more under that disease basically. It could be all schizophrenic. Christian has no idea. We are talking about 1974. As of now, Ranveer, even the topic of mental illness is not talked about very openly. Imagine this is 1974 or before that. Still nothing like that. So he could be all schizophrenic and he went on to do something like that because of his mental illness that he went through. And of course, they can be aggressive. Why? Because of the things he went through. You know, let's say he was schizophrenic, then he was exorcised. He was shoved crucifixes in his mouth. No man should go through it. He's a patient and he's going through it. That is one angle. Second angle is Michael could be a serial killer from the very beginning, because in the research shows that Michael could never have a proper job at any place. One red flag. Why is not having any job? Why is his life not very well? Why is not moving out? All signs of a criminal, of a serial killer. So he went on to kill. Third reason would be that the person was actually possessed. So there are many angles to it. What is the real reason? Same goes for the exorcism of Emily Rose, the very famous movie, Annalise Michel. It is said that she was all possessed and everything. She did, 600 squats until she ruptured her knees. She was doing those genuflections and everything. And she was exorcised and everything. And she died during an exorcism. But it was years later figured out that, the father and the parents were charged of, killing a human being, of manslaughter. Because they did not consider the fact that she could be psychologically ill, which is very important when it comes to demonology and understanding demons.
That there can be a very strong science element.
Yes. Or it could be totally anything scientific. Because, when we get a case of possession, of a demonic possession, the first thing we ask, please show us medical reports. Have your daughter been to a psychiatrist? Have your son been to a psychologist? Have there been MRIs? Have there been study on his brain? And you won't believe, out of 10 cases, all 10 of them would have never shown a doctor. So what do we do? Please show a doctor, then come to us. And that's how we deal a case. It's very important.
Yeah. I mean, just one tiny anecdote here.
Yeah.
I remember in the 6th grade, I started reading a lot about UFOs and aliens. And very often I would read about it right before going to sleep.
Correct.
And very often I would have dreams of getting
Dreams of it.
abducted.
That's a human mind.
Yeah, that the content you feed it
It will show you.
have an impact on your dreams, your
Yes,
reality, your
yes.
subconscious mind.
Yes,
If you feed your mind shit, your mind is going to feed you shit.
exactly. And so many of these possessions are nothing but just psychological effect of a human being or something that they saw or a situation they are going through.
Yeah.
There was a case in Bombay, it happened during COVID only, where this small 15 years old girl was said to be possessed so powerful that she used to throw her parents away. No one was able to hold her, and she slapped and bit her psychologist as well. So psychologist was like, Sarba Pooja, you have to do something. I cannot do anything now. So we go there. Now, if a person is possessed by demonic entities or spirits, there will be other signs too that happens in normal paranormally activated place. There will be things boiling or high in EMF, and other things will still be happening because the entity is still there. It is still radiating that kind of energy. When we went, there was nothing. We investigated the place and everything. Now, Pooja is very, very good with kids and everything. We were just sitting and I asked Pooja, do you think there is something? Because I don't feel anything, dude. I'm like, I've investigated a lot of places. This doesn't give the feeling of a demonic. I was very excited that I'm going to investigate a demon. After reaching, there's nothing. Pooja says, no, Sarba, I think there is something else to it. Maybe we should talk to the girl alone. I'm like, are you sure? Because she's biting everyone. I do not want to get injections and all after. Because we do not know, of course, right? What is happening? She's like, no, I'm very sure. We talk to the parents. The parents are like, are you sure? Because she has been very violent in the last couple of days. And you should be careful. And we were like, no, we'll take care. So we close the door and we make her sit on the bed. And we are sitting. And Pooja just asks directly. So by now we have interviewed the girl and the parents and everything. Pooja just asks, are you scared of the 10th board exams? And for a second, she was like, yes. Is that why you're doing all these things? Because you want to avoid going to school? Yes.
So she bit her psychologist because of this?
Yes.
But how do you explain that throwing away the parents?
See, what we call that is called excited delirium. That's the psychological term to it. Have you seen Bhool Bhulaiya 1?
Yeah.
Where Vidya Balan, supposedly possessed by Manjulika, lifts this bed directly. And then when Siddharth calls him, whatever her name is, and she's like, what the hell just happened? So that's called excited delirium. What happens is, so for example, you're a gym guy, right? So the strength you have right now, you never had until you began gymming. So you did not do anything apart from, of course, the protein shake and whatever healthy eating and everything. The strength you have, it's not that you bought it from a shop and you attached it. It was somewhere in there. You just tapped into it and you increased it, right? So just to give a very simple example, when a mother sees her kid in danger, she will do everything and impossible things to protect her.
It's because of added adrenaline in the bloodstream.
Yes,
It
that's
makes you run faster.
Exactly. Exactly. So when we are focused in something, we want to do something, we don't see our bodily limits, even though it may happen that hours later we might, there could be a body ache or something like that. Same goes for when you are building your muscles. Sometimes you'll start with 10, then you'll increase to 15, and someday, even though you are asked not to go to 20, you'll still try it and you'll still do it. It is still there somewhere. That's what also happens when a person is actually not possessed, but is being focused or controlled by something that is completely psychological.
Okay, cool.
New clips released at the same time that a podcast releases. This is TRS Clips. Make sure you subscribe.